And now we are excited to get into our third and final topic of the night. We've got our patron Sam back on again this week. Sam was on just a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about the AL Central. And Sam, we are so excited to have you back. We are so thankful for your generous support of the podcast. It's great to have you back. How you doing tonight?
Good.
So it is a Tuesday. And it feels like it should be about a Thursday, but yeah. You know what? I think I'm doing okay too. But it just feels like it should definitely be Thursday. Tomorrow should be Friday. But we are talking tonight, and I know you wanted to come on. You wanted to talk a little MLB expansion, and you wanted to expand on that point. Sorry, that was a bad dad joke, but I had to say it. So Sam, you're talking. You want to talk MLB expansion, so I will give it up to you first. What are your original thoughts and initial thoughts on what you'd like to see the MLB do in terms of expansion?
Well, I know we were ripping on Mayfield last week as far as his little it's a piece of metal commentary about the Commissioner's Trophy and all. I sort of figure if he wants to get some more, good news as far as baseball, well, there's always the expansion angle of the business, Get 2 new teams and let's go full 32, It could be, it could make some good vibes, get away from all the given current events of everything.
Do you think that you would just maybe split up the Orioles into a couple of different teams? Because they're really horrible right now as one.
I don't know. Baltimore only has so much going for them, so it's like I don't want to take away one of the few ways they can vent their frustrations on a given year.
That's very true. That's very true. So what cities do you think, or would you like to see get involved? Because I think that could be really interesting. I think with Major League expansion, it'd be fun to get some cities really involved in this. But I mean, I understand what some people might be thinking, but I'm really interested to see what cities you think should be trying to jump in and say, hey, we want to have a Major League Baseball team. Our fans, love our minor league baseball and everything like that. We have a really good, group of fans. We have a really good culture, all this type of stuff. What are some spots that you think you'd like to see jump in?
To me, 2 of my favorite locations would be first on the West Coast, Portland, Oregon. Very underrated city.
It's amazing.
They are mad bastards for the Trailblazers. And trust me, if I ever have to retire and be banished to one place, like Milwaukee or Portland having a baseball team plus a basketball, I would be in heaven for retirement forever, basically. My second location, it's one you wouldn't necessarily think about, but I think you would like it. Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville is an up-and-coming city for sure. I mean, that's where a ton of young people are moving to. So the population is just getting bigger and bigger. And I think that they're to add another sport.
Population of just over. It's at 2 million. So it's at 2,027,489 people in Nashville. Ranks 31st among cities.
And they've got a hockey team, they've got a football team, they've got
soccer team.
Other sports, a soccer team and things like that. I think adding Major League Baseball, I think that'd be really exciting for a really exciting city.
Actually, just to prove the rabidness of the Tennessee fan base in general for all their current teams, I've heard stories of some guy, hardcore Predators fans, they're living almost 300 miles plus away from frickin' Nashville in the boonies,
Yeah.
They will make an entire Saturday trip to and fro from the city just to attend a frickin' Pred game in their frickin' pickup truck. That's hardcore to me.
That's dedication.
hardcore.
That is absolutely dedication. I love that.
Yeah, I know. Any more than them throwing catfish in the middle of the ring, which they took a cue from Detroit.
Yeah.
Mr. Widmer, what do you think? Jump
So,
on in.
To me, there's 6 cities. So
Did it feel weird for me to say Mr. Widmer? Did I feel like one of your students?
No. Half of them at this point don't even know my name, and I've been there 2 years. But realistically, there's 6 cities that people are thinking about. 2 of which Sam just mentioned, Portland and Nashville. There's Charlotte, Vancouver, Montreal, and Las Vegas. So those are the 6 teams.
Most of those don't get me excited.
I agree. Which one gets you least excited? Like if
Montreal.
And I'm going to say this the most crudest way. Which gives you the if we're talking on the hard-on meter, which gives you the least of a hard-on?
So go through them again right now. I'm going with Montreal.
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, love.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Love.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Not loving it as much.
Nashville, Tennessee.
I like it.
Montreal.
Don't like it at all.
Quebec, right? Montreal, Quebec.
Don't enjoy it.
Vancouver.
No.
Not really.
So the two that I get and I throw away is Vancouver and Charlotte. To me, Charlotte could work, but it doesn't get my jimmies going. Same thing with Vancouver. I agree with Sam. Portland to me, the only reason why I would lean Portland is the organized efforts are speared by the Portland Diamond Project. So they've got $1.3 billion with a B, people, not an M, with a B. Billions. As Trump would say, billions and billions of money in financial commitments that have been shown to politicians in Portland, as well as the MLB. Agreement in principle on over 40 acres of property along Washington's Willamette River. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyone from Portland, correct me. With plans to do a much larger development. So to me, I think Portland is going to happen because they have the plan. They're like, hey, we've got the money. Here's the plan. Let's build this. Let's make this one of the best ballparks. The minus is, or the question for them, people are saying could be the Mariners, which I think that's a positive. You get a little bit of a rivalry.
Yeah,
it's kind
I
of
like that.
It's kind of like what we've got between the Cubs and the Brewers, where it's not that long of a drive from Seattle to Portland. Same thing with Chicago and Milwaukee. It's not that far of a drive. You get that little bit of a rivalry. Hell, we even get it with the Cardinals. It's a 2.5, 3 hour ride down to St. Louis. You get that rivalry built in, even if Portland's an NL team. And like, you can either do Portland as an NL team. I wouldn't do that though. I would have Portland be in the same division as Seattle to get that rivalry, get the most out of Seattle and Portland going together. But I guess there's also the A's and the Giants could try to block the deal for Portland because they have broadcast territories to the south. And they could, like it says here, I'm reading it, potentially build a consensus to block the Portland deal from happening. So Portland I really like. My other decision comes down to Nashville isn't bad, but my big question is the market big enough? And if I'm adding 2 teams, I'm sorry, I want some bang for my buck here. So that's why Charlotte, Nashville, I kind of pushed to the side. The other one I would say my number 2 would be Vegas. Vegas seems like the hot commodity right now. The NHL moved there, success. The Raiders are moving there. We'll see if it's a success. Basketball, whenever we talk expansion, talk about a team in Vegas. You got Summer League in Vegas. NBA will be in Vegas at some point. MLB should also be in Vegas at some point. Vegas will be a market that has, just like New York, Chicago, LA, they will have every single sports team at some point in our lives. With that being said, there's a little soft spot in my heart for Montreal. I would love if Montreal came back, or baseball came back to Montreal. It kind of reminds me of Cleveland with the Browns, where have the Browns been good? Not particularly, but it's nice to have football in Cleveland. And like Montreal would be the Cleveland of the MLB. The team left. The team has also won a World Series since you left. The same thing with the Ravens. Ravens left out of Cleveland. They've won a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls. Since the team has moved, it's the same storyline. You can bring baseball back to Montreal, a city that is kind of like, I still feel like that city is yearning for a baseball team. Plus, the thing that kind of plays into that is, do you want Toronto to be the only international team? Do you want them to be the only Canadian team in the entire league? That's the fight I would give for Montreal over a Vancouver. Vancouver doesn't matter. I've got no connection to Vancouver. So my 3 would be Portland, Vegas, or Montreal.
Sam, what do you think?
Here's my thing. I mean, I really felt sorry for, all the Montreal fans when the Nationals went to stateside and they became the Nationals,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's like, I think, it's been almost like a 15-year exodus from Canada as far as in Quebec, right? Give or take so far, I think, right?
Let's see.
It was like mid-2005 or something like that. I think they moved.
Let's see. The Montreal Expos were 2004. So 2004 they moved to Washington.
Because I sort of have the feeling, though, like within that time, I think a lot of the fan base, they sort of just converted to the Blue Jays overall, and they sort of, like Toronto, they just became like the freaking team for the country, basically. Just sort of like the way the Raptors sort of, it's like the only basketball team in the entire country as well. I think the majority of the Montreal fan base sort of just went Blue Jays outright, and they sort of satisfied their baseball love that way. But no, aside from Montreal, it's like, I sort of agree with like your preferred city choices as far as bang for your buck and all that. I'd be pretty down.
Because do you think Vegas, like, I'll ask this. How many years do you think it is until Vegas has a sports team in every professional sport in America?
I would say probably give it 10 to 20 years.
Okay.
I would say it's going to get there.
What do you think? Do you think Vegas gets a sports team in every sport?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think that it's a big draw for it's a big draw right now certainly for football. It was for hockey. I think that's gone pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how
Stanley Cup appearance. I can't remember if they won it.
Yeah. Well, they went far. Did they win it? No.
I can look it up.
I don't know.
They lost to the Capitals.
They did.
Hockey's not my number one.
Unless the Hawks are in, I'm not watching.
And then obviously we'll see how football works out. I could definitely see, a basketball team going out there to Vegas. Baseball could definitely get there. When you say, every professional sport, I don't know if that happens, but if it does, I think I'd probably go more on Sam's timeline, only because it does take a lot to get. It takes a couple of years to get things set up and to do the development work and the planning
money.
Process. Absolutely. So, I think that a 10 to 20 year timeline to get every sport out there is somewhat realistic, but and even possibly lowballed. But
because right now they have, so in 2017, the Vegas Knights were the first one to push the button. They joined the NHL in 2017. Then the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA, they were formed the year later. And then now we've got the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders for 2020. That just leaves an MLS team, an NBA team, and an MLB team. The only thing that I agree with you guys of why it would be longer is if a team from MLB, we'll keep it in MLB because we're a MLB podcast, Like if a baseball team is going to go to Vegas, it's going to be a new expansion team. It's not going to be like, oh, well, the Baltimore Orioles are moving from Baltimore to Las Vegas, like the Raiders did.
Well, let me raise this question to you, Ricky.
Okay.
Like, I know, like, what is it, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Oakland Athletics have been having some ownership disputes about the future of their stadiums in general, as far as all the leases and the shared costs, I think, with their respective cities. But you think it's, like, possible that instead of, like, just a fresh-off expansion team moving in, it could be, like, maybe for whatever fallout reasons, like either the Rays or the Athletics decide to move to Vegas, potentially, like the Raiders did, in a sense?
The A's are interesting. I would say out of those two teams, the one that I would put my money on, if you're saying which one's going to move to Vegas, the A's.
Yeah, like if there was like
Oakland, because
like
I just killed
contract
you.
Negotiations just go nuclear.
Yeah.
And both sides are like, yeah, it's been fun, but we got to move to a new place. So,
but like if
we're
I'm
going to Vegas,
if I'm the Rays, I feel like they'd move to like Tampa or Orlando.
Wasn't it
Vegas.
the Rays that were talking about potentially playing games in Montreal?
Yes, that's right.
It was the Rays that were potentially talking about playing half of their games in Montreal and the other half in Tampa, and it's like, well, that couldn't have been a dumber move because you are not going to build a fan base that way. Yeah. Or if you do, you build half a fan base here, half a fan base here, and what does that do? Give you half an empty stadium. I just don't find that to be smart. You have to go all in on one or another.
Here's my question, and Sam, we'll start with you first, and this is kind of the fun side of it. So let's say you're Rob Manfred. You're picking the two cities. Not only are you picking the two cities, what mascot would you pick for both of them? So what are your two teams, like, for example, if it's Portland, it's the Portland what? What are your two teams' full first name, last name that are joining the MLB?
Well, I'm going to go, like, okay, Portland, I think it's, that's sort of a hard one because it's like Portland, Oregon, you know, it just like, it just got such a rich, you know, Americana history as just being like that final Western frontier, you know, and I mean, that's why we spent so many hours in grade school on Oregon Trail, for God's sakes, you know?
Yeah.
At least until your oxen all died and you lost a game. Go figure. But I would probably, I would like do something like lumberjack or pioneer-ish sounding, you know? Something along those lines.
Would you?
But I guess the other thing is, maybe just to be more outside the box, I would even go like Sasquatch. You know, Bigfoot.
The Portland Sasquatches. Because that's the plural of Sasquatch, I think. I like that one. Would it be just the Sasquatch, or would you got to go plural?
Because the thing is, the whole, like, Sasquatch myth, it's basically Pacific Northwest. So, I mean, Seattle's going to be basically running out of teams to be naming soon. So it's like, someone's got to pick Bigfoot for their team. So it's like, hey, might as well just be a crazy baseball team full of crazy mythical monkeys, right?
I thought about, I'll be honest, I thought about the Lumberjacks as like a second name for them, because then you can get cool, and it's kind of like the Diamondbacks. They call it the D-backs. You could just, your nickname could be the Lumberjacks, but you can just call them the Jacks. Like, that's already built in. The one I was thinking about for Portland, I don't know if you go this way because you've got Oregon State with the same mascot, the Beavers. The Portland Beavers? Do you go with Beavers? Because I think that's the state animal. You can't go Ducks. Like, leave that for Oregon at the Autzen Zoo. But Brandon, do you go? You got the Oregon State hoodie on, the bright orange. Do you?
This is a Nike hoodie. It's not Oregon
but it's the same.
State.
It's the same color, or the Baltimore Oriole colors, because it's got the black in there.
It's blue.
What would you pick for the mascot of Portland? Would you go beaver, go lumberjack, Sasquatch? You think it's something else?
I don't like anything for that. I'll be honest with you.
So you don't like the lumberjacks
the
or the
whole time
beavers?
I wasn't even thinking about Portland.
Okay.
I was thinking of the Las Vegas Dingers.
The Dingers. Is that too...
That's what I like.
So my question is that too, like, nail on the head? Because, like, the one I saw that I don't like is, like, the Las Vegas Aliens. I don't like that.
Heck?
I don't like that.
Doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one?
Go
the
ahead.
Las Vegas Desperados.
Desperados would work.
That's fun.
You got the desert out there. The Desperados. My question is, do you bring in something like... Because Vegas, gambling, do you make it like the Vegas the Vegas rollers, like the high rollers, but you call them the rollers? Do you try to play into like that kind of a life, or do you stay away from it completely and go to a like Dingers, Aliens, like something that's not going to play into
No, you don't. No, you don't, because that is an awful.
Aliens.
That's an awful name. Where did this person even get this from? The Las Vegas. You know what? Let's go with the worst thing we can possibly think of. How about aliens?
the Aliens?
What? No, that doesn't even make sense.
The Las Vegas Aliens.
I like the Las Vegas Dingers though, and
The
I think
Desperados do work too.
I think you
desert.
I think you stay away though from the stuff on the Vegas Strip and things like that because you try and keep it family friendly.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you'd have to go and try and be as clean as possible.
What would be so? Are we all in agreement that it'd probably be Portland and Vegas were the two teams? You weren't thinking Portland.
But I don't have a good idea for a mascot for Portland.
Who was the other Did you think of like anyone in your other head?
Just Vegas.
Okay.
My
just
other
Vegas.
head.
Or like in your head for the other.
Where is my other one located?
Because like for me, Montreal has one answer. You've got one answer if you're Montreal. You bring back
the Expos.
That's it. If it's not the Expos, you're wrong. Vancouver, I would go Grizzlies, kind of play off the basketball team. Because I miss them, although I don't think Vancouver gets a team. Sam, I'll ask you this. We talked about Nashville. My last question for you. If Nashville gets a team, what mascot you picking for the young city of Nashville? Are they a young city? They've been around for a while. What are you picking for Nashville?
I'd be sort of doing it something as far as all the country music heritage, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, like, the guitars? No, that's too generic.
The Nashville Guitars. Well, you guys playing tonight? We're playing the guitars. We're not sure how good they are, though.
Because what, in Tennessee, you've got the Panthers, the Titans?
Like something... I mean, I can't, like, think of it totally off of my head, but it'd be, like, something country music-related, basically, mascot-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
The Dukes?
You know, like Music City and all that jazz.
The Dukes, referring to...
The Nashville Jazz.
The Nashville Jazz. We already got the Utah Jazz, though.
Yeah, but Utah can get out.
So, can I make a side point about that?
You can.
It blows my mind that, I know it's basketball, but it blows my mind that we have a team in the Utah Jazz, that their mascot is the Jazz, and jazz music is not associated with Utah at all. But we have New Orleans, and New Orleans should be the Jazz. They should be the Jazz. It should be the Utah Jazz, or the New Orleans Jazz and the Utah Pelicans. It's probably what it should be. But
you want to start that petition to change it?
No, but it's something that like I think about from time to time, and it just makes me a little. It irks me a little bit.
It irks you.
Yeah, when things don't fit perfectly like that.
Sam, any final thoughts or comments on anything expansion-wise, anything in terms of team names, mascots, anything else that we haven't hit on that you want to make sure you get in before we go for the night?
Well, like, okay, if we do go to the full 32 teams, considering, do you think, like, that would require a massive sort of, like, realignment of the current, like, NL and AL, like, divisions and all so forth, or would you sort of just be like adding one team as is to each one, considering personally?
I don't think it's a massive realignment, but I mean, because wasn't it for Ricky? Wasn't it for a little while that there was already when Houston was over in the NL? Wasn't it a little off?
Yeah, they had 6.
Yeah, so they had 6. I mean, you just added in. It was fine. I don't think that would be a problem. That's what you have in, both divisions then. Both divisions, both leagues, NL and AL, and you just have. I mean, I don't know how they go about it strategically wise, but you have some strategy that goes into it on the, planning on. Who goes where, but still, I don't think it makes it a big deal.
It was something that made the most sense because, like, it happened 2012 to 2013 that every division had 5, except the NL Central had 6, and the AL West had 4. Like, why wasn't that done sooner?
They didn't want to do it. They're like, nah, let's not touch it.
I feel like you'd have to do one of two things. You would either have to, just like you said, bite the bullet and one division in each one. So, like, let's say we'll do Portland and Vegas just to, like, make things
for argument's
easy.
sake.
Basically, it's then, if you're doing that, then it's, okay, both AL and NL Wests have 6. We add Portland to the AL, we add Vegas to the NL. Boom. They're both in the West. Or if you do Nashville, it's the AL West has Portland, the NL East, or the Tennessee. Would you put them in the Central or the East?
I'd probably put them in the Central.
So you'd have the Central and NL Central and AL Central. Or you'd have to do it where, let's see, I got to do math on a podcast. We know how that goes.
I guess you could. I mean, you can easily make the argument for the East. But
otherwise, you would have to do, if you wanted everything to be equal, if you're one of those people, you would have to create an extra division in each league and have each league be divisions of 4. But yet again, how would that fuck up the playoffs then? Because you're adding another division winner to your playoffs.
Well, they're going to screw them up anyways already without having that. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I mean...
Yeah, but Mayfield's expanded playoff bouts,
God, I hate
it goes
that.
in hand
I hate
with
it.
the expansion. Huh?
I hate it so much. I hate it so much. We talked about it. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't think Ricky's coming around to it too quickly.
I don't. I feel like the easiest answer is just 2 divisions get 6 teams. Like, that's the easiest than just do one of these and walk away. Like, that's all you got to do. Am I wrong? What would you do? Would you create an extra division in each one?
I'm not creating an extra division. No way.
Like, that's way too much work.
No way.
I got to realign things?
Actually, as far as, like, that whole alleged crap about the DH being adopted by the NL to standardize both leagues event in the coming years, like, and you throw in 2 expansion teams, I actually would be up for, like, crazy, like, let's make an entire new division and just go super crazy and make more, like, like adjacent teams maybe just for, like, travel distance and all that.
Where do you get all those players, though?
What do you mean?
What?
Where are you adding the players to these teams?
Like to the new expansion teams?
That's what I'm talking about.
Like,
I mean,
expansion draft and all that?
I don't know anything about that. I'll be honest with you.
So how the NL did it was, how the NHL did it, and how most teams do an expansion draft is, so they got X amount of forwards, X amount of defensemen, and a total amount of players that they can keep. Like, these are the amount of players you can keep. Who do you want to keep that are untouchable? Everybody else was fair game. And Vegas could take, I think it was 2 players from each team. And they'd be like, they would just go around to each roster and go, okay, these two, these two, these
Gotcha.
two, these two, these two.
Gotcha.
That's another reason of why people think they were so good year one, was because how some teams it's like, why the fuck did you give up him? Oh, I get it. His contract. It was an easy way for you to say, not my problem anymore.
Yep.
He's your problem.
Yep.
Well, they got to a Stanley Cup because of it. So they would probably do something like that. The only thing that makes expansion harder in MLB, but not impossible, is the minor leagues.
Well, exactly.
You got a whole minor league system you got to fill out there.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's probably players. Like, there's guys from, I know, like our league, that's the local one of the Frontier League. There's so many semi-pro leagues that it's probably just like, all right, we're having open tryouts. Who the fuck wants to come? And then your farm system's not really good, and then you just build it up from there. That's what I think it would be. They would just, all of the, like, semi-pro leagues, you would just have to kind of poach from them.
Yeah.
And then go off of there and then build your farm system. Got to start somewhere.
Well, the other thing I would say is I think it would be a great opportunity for a lot of diamond in the rough players to actually gain like an actual roster spot and show the world they actually can play some goddamn baseball, frankly, though, because, you know, with the number of given teams we already got, I mean, there's only so much room on every team. So, I mean, there's probably just an untapped oil well of, like, phenomenal players we would never get the opportunity to see ever play unless they were playing to get on like one of these types of expansion teams overall, you know.
I see your point with that. I think that could be accurate. That could be a really good thing for them because there may be, you know, with where they're at right now, there's just so much good talent already in front of them. You know, if you take a look at the Yankees and, you know, you got some guys in their farm system that are good, but they're not coming up because there's really no spot to come up to. So if you have one of these expansion teams come, kind of pick them up, give them a chance, they end up being a starter, could be a star potentially over on one of those new expansion teams, wherever it might end up being. That makes sense to me.
So I just had an idea pop into my head, and I want to see what you guys think. If the MLB goes to 32 teams, and Manfred has already showed us he wants to tweak the MLB playoff schedule.
Yeah.
What would you guys think of this? So we're adding 2 new teams. We're at 32 total teams. We would change divisions to where each league would have only 2 divisions. So the AL would have 2, the NL would have 2. Each division, league-wide, would have 8 teams in that division. And how the playoffs would work is the top team from each division would automatically make the playoffs, and then they would automatically get a first round bye. So kind of like think about the division winners as what the first overall seed gets right now. I say first round bye because technically I'm creating a round of 2 games, but really it's just they play wild card winners. You have those 2 teams waiting, so just like we would have. To fill out the other 2, you have 2 wild card games. So you take the next 4 teams. So like for the AL, let's say the Yankees won Division A, the White Sox won Division B. Boom, we put them in. Then we have 2 wild card games, and it's just the top 4 records. The best of those wild cards plays the worst of those wild cards. They then play the Yankees. And then the middle 2 play a wild card game, and then they play the White Sox. So then,
here's
kind of
the
like
thing with the wild card round. Mm-hmm. Would you mind if it's like a best 2 out of 3 series?
Nope.
For each.
Keep it the same it is. It ain't broke, don't fix it, Sam. That's how I feel about the wild card. That's what I love about the wild card. I would.
You would mind.
I would. Don't change it.
Okay.
Keep it do or die.
Because he said, would you mind? And you go, nope.
No,
I think he means absolutely yes.
No,
Yeah.
don't change it. That's what I mean.
Okay.
This is my reason for expanding it, though, because to me, I don't like the fact it's only a one-shot thing, because I think it's sort of like unfair to just. It's like 62 goddamn game season, so I mean, it's only coming down to this one game. That sort of does suck for all those guys, in my opinion.
Well, it sucks for all the teams that don't even make it to that, but the teams that make it there, I like that. It adds a piece of like an adrenaline. Everyone's getting up for it. It's really exciting. I'm talking about the one game. That's where I think it's fun. It's exciting. Everything's on the line. As Ricky and I talked, I think a couple of weeks back, we talked about there. It's really a chess match. It's really a strategy back and forth between managers. Okay, do I go to the bullpen now? Do I wait? Did I wait too long? Yep. Did I go too early? And depending on what this manager does, manager B goes and does whatever type of deal. So it's just so crafty in that one game that you get.
Mm-hmm.
True, but I'm also a huge pitching nerd, frankly. And the thing is, I believe that if you're going to be a true team to go all the way to the World Series, you need to have at least 3 capable pitchers in your starting rotation. So it's like, I want to see which team actually got the best 3 starters, potentially, and duke it out.
You find that out eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. My whole debate with it is, because like what you said right away, Sam, was, oh, well, that's not fair. And my thought process is, well, are we trying to be fair, or are we trying to create a competitive playoff? Because I think for me, the playoffs that I love the most are football. I love football. Why? It's one game. It's one game. You get one game to do what you do. And that's why we get I feel like in football, we get the runs that we do sometimes. Like, for example, the Saints would probably have more Super Bowl wins if they played a series in football compared to just one game. And with the wild card, it's if we're going to take 4 teams then and say your wild card teams, in my mind, I almost put it to the fact of, all right, you're lucky you're in this 4. You want to be in the series? Go and win your division. It kind of puts more of an onus on winning the division, where right now it doesn't really matter. Like, it matters if you win your division, but yet again, it's not like, I don't know. It just, it to me raises the stakes because there's less divisional spots out there. More teams fighting for less spots.
The most important thing to the commissioner is money.
Yep.
And ratings, though.
Yeah.
So I think eventually that's another thing he's trying to think like me. It's like, oh, there's more games. These fan bases are going to tune in to TBS like all freaking week.
Yeah, but does that necessarily mean the best for the game? In my opinion, no, it does not. Just because it adds more money doesn't mean it's good for the game. I'll ask you this: football. Do you like an 18-game season, Sam?
As far as like where they're trying to go with the current CBA,
yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think. But here's the thing: I think what an ex-Bears player, Sam Acho, sort of colloquially said: the proposed 17-game like CBA agreement that's currently being voted, it's good for probably about 95% of the given players. The top earning 5% star players, though, they hate it to hell because, they like to be money-grabbing bastards, basically, while the rest of them are, they only make like a couple million in a given year. So, I mean, it's like, it's a pretty good agreement. So, but I wouldn't mind if it eventually got to a 18-game season even.
Yeah,
I'd be more than happy with more games.
My whole point with, like, for me, I am against more football games, mainly because football's a different sport. It's a lot more contact. You're adding 2 more games. And and how is that going to affect? It's more chances for guys to get injured. I have a feeling that sometimes what's best for business might not be what's always best for fans and for the overall excitement of the game. Because the one game playoff, I love how it's, of course I don't like it when it's the Cubs on the losing end, but I do love how you get that surprise factor. Maybe it's just me reminiscing as a kid where you'd stay up late and watch that one game playoff, that one game, and you're sitting there and you don't want to leave the television because you know that this is it, that it all rides on this one game and that there's no tomorrow. Like, that to me is the most exciting thing in sports, when it's the one game, put it all out on the line, because if you lose today, you don't have a tomorrow. And that, I wouldn't want that to be gone per se, because we're going to add more games because we want to make more money.
I agree. I mean, I think that there's a lot of legitimacy in that comment, but I think there's definitely arguments to be made on both sides. But Sam, before we wrap things up tonight, again, any final thoughts from you?
I'm going to call it, but I'm going to say within the next 15 years, we're going to have 2 new baseball teams, and hopefully in some of the cities we mentioned. Hopefully.
I think that would be
Portland and Vegas.
I think that would be really exciting. I think Portland, Vegas, I think even Nashville would be pretty cool to have
Montreal.
one. I think it would be cool to have one in Nashville as well. Well, that is going to wrap it up for us tonight. It was a lot of fun, plenty of topics, a lot of great conversation as always.
Do you want to know how long this show was?
Sure.
Don't know how much of time at the beginning there was, because we were talking on Twitch before we started. But right now we have been live for 1 hour and 52 minutes.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Brandon's like, let's make this quick. 2 hours later.
Yeah, let's make this quick. I'm tired. I'm hungry. And did I mention I'm really tired and I'm really hungry?
Yeah.
So that is going to do it for us. Again, so many great topics. I hope that you go and you comment on all of them. Would love to see what you guys have to say. Again, if you are not already, go and become a patron today. Go to patreon.com/most valuable podcast. With just $1 a month, you can come on a podcast just like Sam did tonight. And we had a whole lot of fun talking baseball and MLB expansion. A whole lot of conversation to be had there.
And thank you to Cash, our newest patron.
Absolutely. A big thank you.
I think it's Cassius.
Yeah.
I almost like, it could be Cassius, but I think it's Cassius. But thank you, Cash, our newest patron.
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully...
Brandon, that look, I'm just like...
And hopefully we've got your name right. And if not, Ricky will probably never get it right.
I'm bad with names.
But that's okay. No way. Are you really? I had no idea.
Come draft time.
Oh, my gosh. All right, well, that's going to do it for us, everybody. For Ricky Widmer, I'm Brandon Swanson. A big thank you to Sam. And so long, everybody. Wash your hands. No need to get the coronavirus.